Being a man in 2025, it isn't really that weird to be someone who you quote unquote aren't. Like, take Cardi fans, for example. You got fans out here dressing like they're next up in line to get signed by Opium. But then you have the other type of male, the more delicate, more pleasant type of male. The quote unquote performative type of male.
Now what about...
Alright guys, on 3 we're gonna take a boomerang. We're gonna shake our moms, okay? So 1, 2, 3.
You look stupid, man.
By the way, the definition of performative male is a man who adopts traits seen as soft, progressive, or feministic. So to put it in basic terms, they're just trying to smash. But in the past year or two, there's one main concern that's been concerning the online space. And that concern is that men are getting more soft. Most of the time, it's really just an alpha male podcaster stating this. But most people online have been calling this a performative male epidemic or apocalypse. A performative male is really anyone who is seen as having a more feminine type of style. Like, you'll see their ass sipping matchas, or even reading a more feministic type of literature, and doing all types of yoga. And before you say it's perfectly fine for any gender to do any type of yoga. And don't forget the main attire, the quarter zip. And this new generation, it isn't really that weird for Gen Z to adopt any type of fashion trend, but this has to be one of the fastest trend hops of all time. Like, I could swear just yesterday everyone was wearing baggy jeans and streetwear, but we've reached a new type of fashion, skinny jeans and quarter zips. But another thing is these comment vultures when it comes to posting anything performative. Like, you could just post a video of you drinking a matcha and the comments will flame the ever-living shit out of you. I honestly don't even know why men post this, because you're bound to get flamed. But when it comes to getting flamed, both men and women will participate. Like, you have to want to lose by posting these, because it's a lose-lose situation at this point. But I want to say I understand when the older generation says that the new generation is softer, because if I was a 20-year-old 30 years ago, I could not survive. 20 to 30 years ago, phones were bulky as shit, and computers took 3 business days to load. Like, I find this hard to believe that computers went from filling an entire room to just fitting in your palm. Not to mention, I don't even understand how you would use this, and how the hell am I supposed to find Ice Spice leaks on this? I'm not trying to be a damn historian when I say this, but back then people did not have soft hands. Soft hands is a term that basically means any person's lack of physical labor, leading to smooth skin, or it can mean that someone is considered gentle. And there are so many memes about people having soft hands, with one of the main ones being a truck driver.
I've fought more men and bedded more women than you've probably ever seen. Hell yeah. Now, you want to talk about soft hands? Ain't nothing soft about me, boy. Nothing soft about me.
But really, being a man back before the internet had to have been one of the most boring things of all time. Like, you're telling me your ass would get trolled for anything. Most things that we see as fine, the older generation would hate on. Like fashion, for example. Like, you couldn't even rock that shit back then without getting flamed. But I really think the good thing about our generation is the desire to stay clean and want to dress. Like, back in the 60s, there was even a term called being a dirty hippie, which literally derives from being dirty. But an insult used on the interweb nowadays is men used to go to war, which is a term literally making fun of men for being soft. A lot of women love to use this term when a man is doing something that can be considered feminine. And a great example of this would be the trend of wearing skirts. Yes, you heard me, skirts. This trend of wearing skirts was popularized by the musician Playboi Carti, which actually has one of the craziest fan bases of all time. But I will never understand why this man is out here rocking a skirt. Like, bro, you're telling me you woke up as a man and really decided to wear a skirt? But this phrase, men used to go to war, was really popularized by TikTok, but it's to the point where women will go out in public and record men just to make fun of them. Like, bro, can you just not sip a fire-ass coffee in peace? And why are you complaining because you weren't the first person to be on the train? And by the way, there's a
200% chance a man built that building where you guys are sipping coffee in.
The whole phrase men used to go to war doesn't really make sense to me, because men still go to war till this day. Like, bro, does your ass not read the news? There's a new war happening every day at this point. Women are out here acting like men had a choice to be or not be in the war. Like, your ass was randomly chosen out of some shit like it's bingo. In this day and age, there's still people fighting in wars that they probably don't want to be in. And by the way, there's still a lot of countries that do force people to serve in the military. Like, take the Asian country Taiwan, for example. If you know the streamer Ray, you know his ass had to take a break from streaming to serve in the military. And I'm not buying that excuse that he had to take a break because of mental health, because it's literally a law. And to be honest, this really isn't the best example to set, because if a country really wants people to join their military and actually be pushed to fight, people need to join naturally. Like half of Gen Z's ass is not gonna want to go to the front lines on war. Their ass is just gonna be sipping a matcha and watching TikTok while watching people fight. If you aren't out here drinking a black coffee, you're not a real man. Also, not to mention, men have been drinking matcha for thousands of years. It is not like a new thing that Gen Z recently discovered. You had monks drinking this shit for thousands of years. Even samurais were out there drinking this shit to get them to focus. But now we use this drink as a way to sit down after working a long day at our blue-collar jobs. Like, I don't think nowadays you would end up seeing a samurai drinking a matcha. The most you're gonna see is a dude rocking a quarter zip just sipping on one. The comment men used to go to war is fairly a new one because a couple of years ago you would never see this. There was a lot of women out there saying men were so emotionless and nonchalant, which really does bring up the question, when did men's attitudes start to shift? I honestly think it was during the COVID-19 because everyone had some time to sit back and think. It really doesn't sound that bad to sip on a sweet iced caramel latte with water perspirating down the side. Sorry, I'm just thirsty as hell. But I really do think men just started to get more laid back with the lockdown because most of them were at home watching TV all day. But the thing is, nowadays you can't even express yourself by sipping on a sweet matcha. By the way, with the money you make working, I guarantee you that most of these women are hypocrites anyways. Like, their ass is just jealous they can't find a man who would go to a coffee shop with them. But I obviously don't think that all women saying men used to go to war are really serious about it, because the origin of it is really just a troll statement. But there really is too many people saying this to the point where we're gonna have some people who aren't really joking. I didn't really realize this till I got older, but there are a lot of women who want to live a quote-unquote traditional lifestyle. Like, even if you ask any girl around you, most of the time they're gonna say they want to be a stay-at-home mom or work a part-time job, which I'm not against by all means. Like, shit, whenever I have kids, I'm gonna be the best possible dad I can be by helping pay out all the bills. Yeah, just kidding, my ass is out of there. But I want to highlight this thing that was trending on TikTok called being a trad wife, which in my Gen Z analysis means traditional wife. The whole trend really is just women talking about how great their traditional lifestyle is. And yes, this can turn pretty toxic quick, I'm not gonna lie. Which is why having a good group of friends around you can't really hurt when you're in one of these relationships. To your ass getting RKO'd over a goddamn burnt burger. But there definitely is a correlation with this lifestyle and men getting called quote-unquote zesty and performative. This is my opinion, but I haven't seen this ramp up until a couple of weeks ago. A lot of people forget that there's a lot of women that want to live this quote-unquote dream life where all they have to do is cook and clean. But to wrap it up, I really don't think men should have to go day to day with the fear they're gonna get perceived as sassy by doing anything that women do. Whether it's getting a matcha or a pedicure, you shouldn't really have to fear that your ass is gonna get flamed. But I swear, it has to do something with the name. Like, if they called it a green dark coffee, all the men would be flooding to get this. But the thing is, you can really care for yourself in a manly way, whether that's going to the gym and lifting some weights or eating bugs and getting some real manly protein. But let me know in the comments down below. Anyways, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. NVL on top, and until next time, I'm out.